tutored as they beggar the imagination, frankly. I'll be very blunt.
Mhm.
Then you have this rot has been crept into the House Oversight Committee, where you have the chairperson of the House Oversight Task Force dealing with UFOs and UAPs, Miss Luna, who I personally briefed and met, also saying that these are interdimensional and they're related to demons and angels and all that. And then the most frightening of all is in the past few weeks, the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, has made similar comments. So I want to address this, and I'm going to be very clear about it. I would refer people to a paper I wrote in the 1990s called ETs and the New Cosmology, where it unpacks the whole understanding of the cosmos, allowing for other dimensions and the dimensions of consciousness, thought, higher, lower dimensions, but also the cosmos that we understand as the physical cosmos, meaning the normal universe. The whole cosmos, to me, is not only the three-dimensional universe, but all the worlds of light, all the other dimensions, astral, causal, all of it. And it's a conscious quantum hologram. Now, when you start talking about interstellar travel, you're not going to go from point A to B. Let's go through this exercise again. And let's say that you're from a star system that's only 1% of the distance across our Milky Way galaxy. Our Milky Way galaxy is approximately 1,000 light years across. Now, if you were 1% of the way, which is very close, it's in our nearby galactic neighborhood, right, of solar systems.
Mm-hmm.
The galaxy is 100 billion stars. Our solar system is our star, the sun, and our planets. Just for clarity for people, go back to our grade school astronomy, which people forget. That's fine. And so if you're 1% across our galaxy, which is very much in our neighborhood, right?
Right.
Galactic neighborhood, that's 1,000 light years. So at the speed of light, it would take 1,000 years to get there and 1,000 years to go back, 2,000 years, the time since the birth of Christ. Now, similarly, if you're communicating with something like this is going to take 1,000 years to send a signal at the speed of light, which is what our radio frequencies are, and to receive an answer back another 1,000. So that's 2,000 years again. So whether you're talking about transportation or communication, the speed of light is too slow. It's too damn slow.
Yep.
A priori, by definition, you must have technologies that are trans-dimensional, faster than the speed of light. And when you go through what I called back then in the early 90s, the crossing point of light, like you have the sound barrier you go through, boom,
Mm-hmm.
in the atmosphere normally, except for UFOs, for reasons we can go into. But when you're going beyond the speed of light, the matter, the whole object, resonantly has the frequency shift beyond the frequency of electrons and neutrons and protons and subatomic particles and all of it. And when that happens, it is in another dimension. So it's 3D here. It's then beyond 3D, trans-dimensional, to go from A to B. It's not going to the speed of light. It's dropping out of linear space-time. So even the idea of it going through a wormhole or whatever, but the actual physical experience of that is very akin to like a lucid dream or that sort of that aspect. And it's very interesting. And then when it's wants to come into 3D, say, over the Earth or somewhere, then it shifts, the frequency shifts back down to a three-dimensional aspect, and it's physical matter. So it goes from solid matter from a planet to through a dimensions, and depends on their technology, it can be various ones, back into this dimension. Now here's the trick. When it's still in those other dimensions, it can be outside your living room window.
Mm-hmm.
And what are you going to see or experience? You may not see it at all, or you may see something that looks like an apparition to someone not educated about the science, or something very close to like a holographic energy field. And this is why we train people in this in CE5 Contact. If you get the app, CE5 Contact, big part of this is understanding the cosmos. Because if you don't understand this cosmology, you're not going to know what's what out there. You're not going to know whether it's a man-made UFO, an interstellar UFO, ET craft that's transdimensional, or if it's some other phenomenon that's from another dimension, which exists. All right. So there are things that are from other dimensions that can pop into this, but and have an effect in this. This is like poltergeist, right? Or
Right.
other phenomenon, which I have observed as an emergency doctor quite up close and personally. But that's not the same as a transdimensional interstellar spacecraft with people on it. Now, anyone with a scintilla of education should know this. I hate to be blunt. And when I was at the Vatican with Pope John Paul's senior theologian, Monsignor Balducci, and he was actually a demonologist, which I didn't even know such a thing existed. I wasn't raised in that tradition. But, and he said very flat out, and it was very hilarious. He said, neither angels nor demons require flying saucers. He put it so simply. And he knew what he was talking about. He knew about the whole thing of lower dimensions, higher dimensions, celestial, all. And we had these beautiful conversations about this. But what I think the intelligence community does, and particularly people like Jim Semivan and Jacques Vallée and others, is that they deliberately conflate and confuse, obfuscate this issue so that people with a religious perspective, which is fine, like Tucker Carlson or J.D. Vance or Miss Luna, they're going to utilize their religious paradigm to confuse them on the nature of what's going on with UFOs. And that is what we see happening. And I've been seeing this happen since the early 90s to now. The problem is that's a little bit of shorthand for they're from another dimension, they're not human. And from a religious point of view, certain religious perspectives, it means they're demonic, and therefore we need to have a holy war to kill them. So this is how you get into a space age holy war, through this sort of absolutely ignorant and uninformed perspective on science, on transdimensional physics, which is a whole area of covert research and development, and not understanding the overlap, which is natural, from a very advanced interstellar civilizations and other phenomenon that's real. I don't deny angels exist or lower intelligent things that are less enlightened. You may call them demons, or uh, beings that are from another dimension altogether that may be more neutral, that pop in and out of this dimension, like Bigfoot or Sasquatch or whatever. That is not the same as a transdimensional interstellar spacecraft with extraterrestrial biological entities on it.